Hi, this is Chris Duff, land funding partner over at Sirius Land Capital. So today I wanted to discuss the impact of consistent marketing. So we did a full analysis within our business and looking at the amount of funding leads that we were getting over the course of the last 18 months or so. And we had a pretty sizable drop off over the last quarter of last year. Sometimes they can be attributed to people get busy over the holidays and so forth. Interestingly, we closed a large number of deals over that period of time. And they also happen to work quite well from a dispo perspective. But the total volume of leads was definitely dropping. And I really had to think much harder about, why is this happening here? We were having such a large number of inbound leads for much of last year that while we still paid attention to outbound methods of marketing, a lot of warm outreach primarily, it wasn't as much of a priority for us. So we weren't kind of keeping leads as warm as we had in the past or when we were first starting out, just because our pipeline of inbound was so strong and the volume of deals that we were doing was so significant that extra marketing efforts just got pushed back further and further from a prioritization standpoint. And ultimately, what we really came to realize as we were examining, okay, what was this drop off caused by, and really looking across all the various metrics from all of our various marketing efforts, this really came into that classic mistake that Alex Ramosi, routinely points out, is that once you have a bit more of a mature business and you aim to become more efficient, that some of the elbow grease and groundwork that you had done from a diligent marketing perspective is oftentimes the first thing to go when you just focus on, all right, yeah, we're a little bit more established. Let's get rid of things that have less of a kind of clear cut relation, at least perceived relation to dollars into the business. And in reality, uh, the pipeline of acquisitions was so strong because of the prior 6, 12, 18 months of work that we had done from a marketing perspective. And so we were sucking the well dry and just feeding off the pipeline of all the efforts that we had done earlier on in the business. And we're like, okay, yeah, now we're so established, we can just rely on inbound here. Marketing isn't as much of a priority. And now all of a sudden we're sitting on our hands to some degree during the day, one, okay, where are all these leads that we used to be getting? I had to come to the harsh realization, hey, we need to get our act together more from a marketing side. So to give you some actual examples within our business, uh, the Land Daily Diligence group that I have on Facebook, when we first started, it was 5 days a week, and it was just completely unsustainable. And so switched to 2 days a week within a month or two of initially starting that, and then ended up switching to just 1 day a week in mid-September of last year. And then we were looking at the engagement and growth of our Facebook group after that change was made, and it really plateaued dramatically. That was, when you have to play into the algorithms that the large social channels really define success on their platforms. We were no longer as much of a priority from Meta's perspective, so the growth of that channel just really diminished, where we were getting a lot of potential funding leads. At the same time, that affected our acquisitions and sales side of the business, because speed to lead is always so important. Doesn't matter what business you're in. And when I was normally we're always asking, hey, do you want to have your property reviewed live? You can always get a little bit more information and detail when we are live recording what's happening during the diligence process. And when we were just down to one time per week, it got um, it really slows down the speed to lead, because if somebody submits on a late Thursday or a Friday or over the weekend, all of a sudden they're having to wait several days just for a follow-up. Whereas when we were doing the twice a week, the Monday and Thursday, then ultimately you're at most waiting 2 days for a review of the property. And so we can keep that speed of lead up much higher. And for people who want offline reviews, yeah, still it's fine. We can do that in between, no problem anyways. Ultimately, that was we were kind of killing two birds with one stone. Now just changing back to doing, twice per week to bump our marketing efforts up again. So that was a big realization that we just had over this week. Very quick fix here. It's not going to be an overnight change to get all those leads back, but I did notice when I've got the Facebook group re-engaged, starting to even share the podcast and so forth, it bumps us up in the algorithms. Now we've actually been getting several more member requests for the group just from that. So more confident that is going to work out for us again longer term, just because it had worked in the past and we were shooting ourselves in the foot by backing off from that. Some other avenues that were of note, I haven't been on as many podcasts recently or interviews, here and there some, but not as much over the last 6 months. So that probably related to the diminishment of some of the leads that we were getting as well. So, we're going to be making much more marketing blitz, especially as the software launches shortly this year as well. So trying to line up more marketing opportunities on some of the more well-known channels as well. In addition to that, some of the conferences, the last big conference I'd been at was June of last year. So that can also impact as well. But interestingly, there's been less leads just available from an outbound perspective. So, all the various Discord and Facebook groups haven't been as active from a lead perspective too. So, we're thinking, and this is just feedback. I mean, anybody who's listening to this podcast, hey, if you have any direct feedback, acquisition's been slower, you're not, or maybe you took a break for the holidays, what have you, mail, or, all your channels are still, there's still some lead time associated with it. And to get additional new results in early this year. I know the weather's kind of terrible this week too, so, mail could be delayed further too. So, there's all those various factors that there just are potentially less funding leads available writ large for all funders, not just us. And just looking at the other funders out there too, I would put our marketing efforts above any of the others too, just in terms of effort and diligence. So I'm not perceiving that we're really losing out from that, other than shooting ourselves in the foot again from just backing off what was working well from us prior. So those are definitely some avenues. Also, again, was just doing less warm outreach. I'm going to be doing a lot more of that as well here shortly. Just checking in with folks and kind of just keeping the relationships going and seeing where we might be able to work together. And at the same time, I hate being beholden to other people's businesses to grow my own. So, we're also going to be working more on sourcing our own deals, not just standard flips. I really only want to keep the funding side alive for that part of the business, but more for larger deals or development type, either subdivides or mobile homes or some other value add type deals. We're actively researching internally to figure out where we might be able to source some of those as well, and potentially partner with other companies too. So just to give you some perspective on how we're starting to approach things from our side as well. And again, just getting more involved in other channels, and be warming up our email list again. And this podcast should be helping as well get the word out about our business. But if you have one takeaway for this episode is, if you find something that's working with marketing, just never stop, never ever stop. It's going to take us a while to spin everything back up, but we know we've done it before. We can do it again, and I'm never going to make that mistake again. So with that, we will conclude this episode here. Just recall, if you have any deals that are looking to be funded, seriousland.capital, check out our Land Pricer AI software at landpricer.com. Or the Land Daily Diligence group on Facebook, where I will review deals on Mondays and Thursdays, zero cost, whether you're seeking funding or not. Please like and subscribe this episode if you think it deserves it. A 5-star review. We're trying to build this here ASAP. I promise I'll get better at this over time. Maybe 100 episodes in, I might actually start becoming good. 500 in, maybe even great at it. That's always the goal when learning a new skill. With that, take care, everybody. Bye.